Nicolas is a scientist and ex-medtech exec turned entrepreneur. He founded Nooped. Did I say that right? Nooped?
Yes.
Yes, to solve the problem that mid-tier merchants experience of not being able to guarantee their profitable growth through advertising online. And yeah, it's just really great to have Nicolas here. He's come all the way from Brighton. So yeah, it's all about getting the best talent even when they're not in London. So please give him a very, very warm welcome.
Anyway, so, hi everybody, Nick Hoover here. A quick introduction to what we do. Nooped is an analysis and automation platform for e-commerce, specifically for e-commerce, right? And it automates your campaigns for profit, and we've built a quite unique logic that we call profitable ad spend, or PAS, which I know Anu is very upset to have one more acronym to deal with. Anyway, so if you were here in the last event, you might have seen this guy, Rand Fishkin, Anu's friend, of course, very close buddy. So in one of his great posts, because the things he writes are actually very, very good, he has said that if you have patience and discipline to focus on profitable growth or profitable growth, go for it. Right? It's a very long article, but it's really interesting. And what is the whole basis of that? Why are we talking about profit? A very oversimplified view of a very complicated and long paper, scientific paper, of 600,000 companies reviewed over almost any industry, across all industries, over 12 years. And strategically, if those companies had focused on higher profits from the beginning, so bottom line growth, rather than top line revenue growth from the beginning, they have much higher likelihood of becoming star performers. Okay? So this pans out actually statistically and scientifically. Now, in our world, this is from a Google keynote from an event we attended earlier this year. Now, even they are concerned about this. This was a concern by the guy who was actually giving the talk. As a merchant, as your percentage of sales from e-commerce rises compared to your other sales, not from e-commerce, maybe from your physical stores, your profit margins are shrinking. Your actual profits take home are shrinking. And he was even saying that what they're seeing across the board was that even pure plays were down to 0.4% profit. Now that's sliver thin, right? That's dangerous territory. So and there is this trend, right? We think it's fundamentally because of this. Because ROAS is effectively a revenue measure. Top line, right? Google doesn't talk profit yet, a little bit. They've started that conversation, right? So ROAS is a revenue share, is not a profit share. But we've just said that we really should be caring about profit. Because in the end, what's happening in our industry is that the number one PPC metric, it is for e-commerce, right, is ROAS today, right, is completely separate to the underlying number one seller metric, which is actually their profit. So this is an issue. Right. I mentioned at the beginning guaranteed profits. There is a way to get there. So bear with me here. This is how, again, many merchants work today, right? And then we come in and do PPC. They have a purchase price or manufacturing price or COGS for lack of a better word. They put a gross margin on that. And for those of you that are doing PPC for e-commerce, how many of you have met customers that say we have our COGS and then we add 30% margin on everything? Anyone? Has anyone come across that? Yes. Yes, we've come across that as well. So they don't really know. They just put a percentage there and they go up a little bit and then they get to a retail price that they advertise, right? They say, okay, this is my retail price. I want you to do well for me. Give it a good ROAS target. So you put in a ROAS target against maybe competition and you hope you're going to do well. The reality though is that this gross margin before even advertising, is eroded by all these things. Payment processing fees, platform fees, Shopify fees, shipping costs, VAT, which I haven't even put there because it's obvious. If you've got a lot of stock, right, you might actually want to reduce your profit margin so that you actually can sell them quickly, sell them off, right, the sell-off. Personnel costs, all these other things are eating into that margin, right? So before you even advertise, you should calculate, before you advertise, the profit you've got at the product level for that product, right? For each one of my products, and this is where it gets complicated when you've got like 20, 30, 50,000 products, but it can happen, right? How much profit can I make from selling that product before advertising, right? Once you've got that number, you can actually work towards profitable ad spend, which is your true or net profit over ad spend. In reality, what we're asking is, now this is where it gets turned on its head and where it becomes proactive, right, for profit advertising. If you know this net profit before advertising, you can ask the question, what percentage of this am I willing to spend to advertise this product? Right? We're not talking ROAS anymore, because ROAS is revenue. How much of my revenue do I want to give? 10% of my revenue, that's top line. No. Get to the profit, the bottom line, and calculate the percentage from there before you advertise. And once you know that, right, your new target ROAS that you can set for that product, and effectively you will campaigns based on product routes like that, is your desired profit share with Google. We're talking Google Shopping, sorry, I should have said that. For e-commerce, I expect that's understood, right? And that's per product profit bidding, and because you are proactively bidding on just the share of your profit, if you do hit your new target, ROAS, effectively, you are guaranteed to have made that profit, right? If you've only set the target based on a percentage of your profit, right, that's it. That's all I'm going to give you for this product. Everything else stays in your pocket. So that's how you can guarantee profitability. So, to cut a long story short, profitable ad spend is a profit share, setting a target based on a profit share, right? We're turning ROAS on its head. An example, 3 products. I have 3 products here, all of them at a sale price of, the retail price of 100, advertised at the price of 100, whatever, shekels or whatever. And the ROAS examples are on a ROAS of 10, and the PAS examples are on a share of 30% of your profit. This is the exact same products with a different approach, and I'm sorry I had to do it like this. But maybe you can see, you can see on the low margin product that if on the low margin product you gave a ROAS of 10, so effectively £10 from your revenue, then you would actually be selling in the red. But by giving a small percentage of your margin only, you're still making a bit of profit. And we can continue that across to the average margin products, right? Where you can see you retain a little bit more of your profit. And what happens in the high margin products is that you're about the same again, okay? So effectively what profitable ad spend does is it takes budget, it takes effectively traffic, right? From your low margin products and passes them to your high margin products, which is the ones you actually want to convert on, because that's when you make real money. Right, I did say that this is about the do's and don'ts of profit bidding, and that's what we are all about. I'm going to take you through a couple of case studies we've worked on. First thing, before we even start that, we strongly recommend you do not give to Google or any platform your actual COGS, your cost of goods, or your profits, because sooner or later they're going to squeeze you for that. Right? Sooner or later. Right?
Yeah.
So we strongly recommend you do not do that. Okay? Right. So what does it take if you are to start down this route of profit bidding, right? What does it really take? It takes that you become much more of a business analyst, that you get much closer to the numbers, that you get much closer to the business itself, right? How it runs, its business models down to, each product, why is it profitable? I'll take you through some things to look for, right? But this is where we're going. If PPCers are going to have to upskill to remain relevant, with PMAX taking everything away, right? You really need to get close to the numbers. Okay, that's the numbers of the customer, not the numbers on the Google platform. Right. So, a few things when you approach a customer and you say, okay, let's see what we can do for you. A few things to look for. Before you advertise, before you even look at necessarily their campaigns, right? These are the questions you would ask from a business side. Is the majority of advertised products you've got profitable? Are you making money from these products? Does anyone ask that of their customers when you meet them? Yes? I heard a yes. Good. Do they have a valid business model? That can be a bit tricky to ask. You will probably see that in the data. So yeah. Then you have to look at it holistically because, as you all know, everything adds up for conversions, right? And everything adds up for your quality score and all those things. And if they don't have a real good practices in place, it's going to affect everything. So I'll show you a specific example where that played in. And then the customer expectations based on the data you see from the above questions. Okay? This has nothing to do with advertising yet. So you will need to jump into sales history, stock levels, product data, lead times, COGS, costs of sales. What are your all the things we listed before? What are your shipping costs? What are your pick and pack costs? All these things. Really know these, and also potentially, are you competitive? If you are in a multi-brand, you're working with a multi-brand merchant, the cheapest sells on Google Shopping, the cheapest. If you're the exact same product, this is the cheapest that's going to sell. So you really need to be looking at the competitiveness of this merchant. Right. 3 cases I'm going to go through. I'm going to have a sip of this. Right. Best case, multi-brand reseller niche. Profitability. Green, sorry, you can't read that, but it's about 67% of their products are really profitable after all expenses. Okay? This is before advertising. Again, this is the analysis before advertising. Okay, before advertising. So yes, we've got significant profit, enough profit margin to advertise. And then you will see some products here. I'm not going to go into all the slices of that pie chart yet. You will see them in the worst scenarios coming in. This is a decent merchant. They've got at least the majority of the products, as you can see there, are actually profitable. Most of them are in the 1 to 10 pounds. Actually, this is a European seller, so it's euros range, which is okay. We can play with that. And quite a large number in the 11 to 20, so we are okay, right? And only a few of them are actually unprofitable. Also on a heat map of competitiveness, everything you see up to including orange means they are okay, they are competitive in the market. People will buy from them. Anything you see is red means no, they're not competitive. So this merchant actually is competitive for most of their brands. And from a pricing perspective as well, when we looked at the data, we saw that even though their pricing strategy, I don't know if this is a box plot, the gray boxes show the maximum, minimum, and median, I think, price of the competition, and the green blob is where our customer was at for a specific product. And you can see that even when they weren't the cheapest in the market, they were still converting, they were still having conversions for that product, which are the yellow ones at the bottom. Which would mean that they've got a good site, they're doing something well, they might actually be also a good name in the market and people trust them to buy from them even when they are not the cheapest. All of these things play a role. So in such a good customer, and I'm sure that every one of you will be thinking, I'd love to work with a customer like that, where there are only a few problem cases, and I don't have to work miracles. The things you have to look for are maybe mistakes, maybe exceptions, okay? And you have to work through these, right? If you want to tweak that little bit of performance out of it, this is the kind of thing you would be looking for. Is the retail price lower than the purchase price? You would be surprised how many times we have seen this, because people use different systems to move some prices from here to there, or even type them in. The customer, I'll show you at the end, I'll tell you a story about them. So in those cases, this is not a good place to be. 77.48 was the purchase price for this product, and they're actually retailing at 71.35. And if you take into consideration all their sales costs, they're actually losing 23.22 per sale. This is before advertising. So what do you do with these products? Maybe we'll have a discussion on those products with a customer, or even ask them, are you sure these are the right numbers? Okay, is that 77.48 true? Right, so that's the sort of thing you'd have to manage. Now, a slightly worse case, but what we would call a workable case, is where you see that there is a majority of products that are actually profitable, but that the sides now that are actually losing you money, negative, the reds, and also the very low margin ones, are actually now encroaching a lot. We're talking about close to 40% of the products are neither here nor there, and actually, if you look to the far left column, from my side, yes, the far left column, they've got quite a few products that are actually not profitable, which you can see in the red. Now, why do we care about these low and very low margin products? Let's look at that. Right. So, if you look at the customer's product range like this, and you look at the profitability per product before advertising, I have to remind you that again. And I've got a decent product here that is selling at 28.46, and it's got a purchase price of 17.99. But if you take out all the sales costs associated with this product, you only have a margin of 0.28. That is your budget for advertising. But in reality, because that's what we said, right? That's the profit you've got to play with, to advertise with, right? That's what we're talking about. So you've got a product that you want to retail at 28.46, and you only have 28 pence to advertise it with. And that is not taking into consideration potentially your rate of conversion, which might be just 5%. So in effect, you've got 1.4 pence to play with. Do you think Google will advertise this? No. So that's something now that you need to discuss with the customer, right? That's why are these products so unprofitable? Are your this particular customer and this particular account of this customer was shipping from one European country to another. And within their country, which is another account of theirs that we have, within their country, the shipping costs are fine. But them shipping to another country with the same price advertised, that shipping cost was killing them. Right? And that happens more often than you can imagine. Right? So you need to tell them these things, guys, and we ask them, do you think you're profitable selling like this? Do you know what the answer was? We think so. This happens, right? So, knowing this, and knowing these big slices of maybe not, the products that, can I actually ever advertise this? Puts you in a position to have that conversation with the customer. In this product range and with your costs, do you have capacity for real profitable growth? I cannot push PPC if I've got no budget. If I give more to Google for you to convert more, you will be losing money every time. So I cannot go very far with this. Do you understand that? Right? Now you can say that. So, workable case, last slide. Consider not advertising unprofitable products. How many of you have told the customer, I hope you have, these products are unprofitable for you, not converting. These will kill you if you continue selling them, and told them to stop advertising them. How many have done that? 3, 4, 5. Great. Okay. Consider separating products for growth and profit. So your profitable products, you can play around, put them in specific campaigns that you actually push for to convert more, to actually get some profit, which might then subsidize other campaigns that you have, not making you very much money, but hopefully growing the top line and making you a bigger brand name, which means that you might choose to keep selling at the 0% margin or lower to win customers if the lifetime value is high. Again, this is a conversation with the customer. I will have to run this rather tricky strategy. Are you okay with that? Okay. So, last, and here's where the fun begins. Where to start? Over 50% of the products losing money before you even advertise. Right. So I'm going to show you how bad this is and not just that, the very low profit, and possibly able to advertise take what, 80% of all their products? They were advertising all the products, by the way, right? Let me show you what we're talking about. Negative margin products, okay, big list, all good, fine. But we're talking, if you look at the bottom, we're talking about 13,629 products that these people were advertising, which they had warehoused, or a vast majority of these were warehoused, that day in, day out, they are getting shipments of, they are ordering, they are shipping, they are working with all day busy work that's losing them money on every sale. Spectacular, right? Then we saw this, and this needs some explanation, right? We saw that the retail price was, for a specific product, was 0.97, and the current competition price, the current market price from the competition was 1.2 pounds. You'd see, okay, they're competitive, right? But when you added their shipping costs, they go to 5.92 compared to the closer competitors, 5.24. So what do you call this? There is a word for it. Clickbait. Right? Because you will see on Google advertised at 0.97, you'll click on it, but then when you get onto the page and you try to and again, and they've got 13,500 products that somewhere, a lot of them are in this range, right? Then one more thing to note was something that we hadn't actually thought about, but it does happen. It took us some time to figure out. You can't actually see it there, but the margin for that product, should have highlighted it, is actually minus 1.64. So, if they didn't subsidize it with the shipping, they would lose money on the sale. Is that fair? Right. What we saw happen is, customers, this was like a consumable, it was like a spray. Customers bought 5 of them in the same cart. So you can subsidize 1 of them, maybe 2 of them, with shipping of £5. But when someone orders 5 of them, you're actually losing money on a bigger conversion. These play out, right? We saw that in real life, in their accounts. We're losing money on this product, but it's selling well. Yeah, because it's already losing money per item. More missing descriptions. Sorry. missing core data, image problems. Okay, landing pages is just 11 out of 27,000 products. That's not good, guys. If you see all these red flags, right, there isn't very much you can do. And in the end, it comes down to something simple that we have understood after a lot of pain. That you really need to speak to customers who have a little bit of business acumen. This used to be, until we fixed it for them, their description of their shipping. Okay, I'm going to read that to you. We normally deliver between 2 and 4 days depending on the delivery option you choose. Our standard shipping rate is $4.95 for orders weighing over 5 kilograms for England, Wales and most of Scotland, with free shipping on orders over 75 unless your order weighs under... I don't like, well, yeah. Honestly, the shipping rules took about a week to try and map out. You know, it's very difficult. So, I'll tell you you can see here what we did with this customer. For decent customers and for customers, you know, as a general rule, please understand the product data and business model. Get down to it, really understand it, right? They will ask you to improve their performance. Do they even understand what they're asking? That's the thing. Okay, I think I heard that today, and we definitely heard on Veronica's talk in the past event, right? She's like, do you even know what you're asking? Was something you said, I think, right? So set expectations and agree on strategy. Seeing those numbers, what is that we can realistically hope to achieve with you? Okay? Set those expectations and agree them with the customer. Get it in the sign-off. And then, what we did, walk away from toxic business models. There is nothing we can do for that customer. There isn't. We cannot fix that. And I don't think there is a standard PPC agency that can. We're like, your business model is screwed up. We cannot work miracles. So, don'ts. Lose track of the data. This is an ongoing process, right? Every day everything is quick moving. Competitors change their prices. Cost structures change with COVID and all the things that happen. You have to stay on top of this. You can't let it run loose. Don't flog a dead horse. If you see product categories, if you see whole companies not being advertisable because you're going to lose money, don't spend your time on it or budget, or actually better sometimes, and don't use clickbait. Okay, so that's me. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Nicolas. Any questions for him? Yes?
Can't you call me, man?
No. How do you handle the difference between the product that's clicked on and the product that's sold? And maybe products that have a really low margin but high AOV?
We are actually working on that. We're actually working on that. We're working on an analysis of, I'm going to use a word, convertibility and sales against profit. So actually be able to track, did this product that was clicked, because we do track that, did this product that was clicked convert itself? Or did it lead to other products converting, right? And with that in mind, and we are working on that, and actually we should talk about that. We should show it to you, Zach. It seems that we're seeing some trends there that are actually starting to make a case for a specific customer. Because we can't know, we've never run this analysis before, but we think that question of did this product, of course, lead to other conversions, help you make a decision, is it worth keeping advertising, even if it's not profitable, or even if it's itself not generating sales. So I don't have a clear answer for you, but I can show you what we're working on.
Yeah.
You spoke about clickbait, and all of the analysis that you seem to have done seems to be very specific product related.
Yeah.
But if you imagine somebody seeing an advert, and buying a product for the first time, whether it's profitable or not. It could well be that that person creates an account in order to do that, and then he goes back to that account to buy other stuff that doesn't involve him actually going via ads. So I wonder what your comments would be on that.
If in the specific case, okay, in the specific case, with over half the product being unprofitable is before advertising. So even if you are a repeat customer and you didn't have, and the merchant didn't have to pay Google for the next conversion, that conversion lost money. So in a different scenario whereby you knew that you've got, you knew the LTV could be high, which is what we're talking about in case number 2, then that makes sense. And this is I think it is slightly related to Zach's question before, right? So if you know your LTV because you have such a product range, where you know that someone who buys a unique product and might come back to you for maybe the accessories, the extras and stuff like that, yes. For a range like that we had, which was all over the place, multiple verticals, we couldn't really make heads or tails of what the strategy was. I don't think there is a clear-cut answer for that. I don't think there is a strategy for that.
You can just extend on it. You have to look from both top-down and bottom-up, basically, both ends. You have to look on the Google data, or the conversion tracking data, and on your profitability, and then find a nice interplay.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite difficult though, isn't it? Because if somebody goes through Google Ads and becomes your customer for the first time, you can make an analysis on that particular transaction, but how he comes back to you, how many times, what his lifetime value is, and all the rest of it,
Well, we collect the data.
We collect data to know that.
So, okay, initially, if it's a new customer, we wouldn't know. But if a customer is with us for a year, we'll see repeats, and we take this into consideration. So we look at multi-sales, how shopping cart compositions and things, and take that into consideration. But this is just the initial product-based stuff. Is all for somebody where you've got no data. So you have to start somewhere, and then you can look at the conversions, do your own conversion tracking, attribution modeling. It becomes very complex, and that's why you can't do it by hand. It becomes impossible, because especially if you get thousands of products.
Just a couple of hours. So we've been doing research on this for years, and what we see is that you have to work the basket, because it's the basket that counts. So they come in with one product, but you have to look at what they actually buy. They might buy 6 products, and so the individual product, like which, and then second of all, PPC is very high acquisition cost. You make money off of email, off of remarketing, off of so what we see is in businesses at scale is that if you can acquire, we call it adjusted gross profit. I mean, you're very interested in what you're doing. It's just adjusted gross profit. You take that, if you can buy traffic at 50% of your adjusted gross profit, you can scale a business.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Right.
And then, email is the most efficient way to do it. So we go talk to customers and say, PPC is very expensive. You're going to make money off of these channels. This is where you're going to invest. That's where you make your profit. And then you need to look at things like in the basket, if you have everything in one warehouse, it's fine. But if you're drop shipping all that, then it gets a little more complex as well. So you got to look at the logistics as well. But
which should be taken into consideration in a deeper analysis of the cost structure of a sale, right? If you statistically know how baskets are composed, like between multiple places.
Baskets, products are informative. Baskets are more informative.
Yes. Thank you.
And on that note, please give a thank you.